Hi, and welcome to the second set of the Grade 3 courses. If you did the first set, then you obviously know what to expect. If this is your first course, the topics within this course were the ones you wanted to target, then welcome. All you're really going to need is your paper, your pen, and treat this like it's a lesson that you would have had at school. Okay, so you'll be pausing, having a go at questions, hitting play, and just really getting interactive with the work that we're going to be doing. So we're looking at multiplying terms. Multiplying terms is when we see a time sign basically in a question. So if I have 2 times A, what they're really asking me to do is to get rid of that time sign. It's not something that we show in algebra. So that has to go. And when I take that out, the 2 and the A literally just get squashed together. And it equals 2A. So that's my simplifying of that question. The question isn't written accurately, and that's more the fact than anything else. It's just not the way we write algebra, and we have to tidy and sort that out. So if I was going to ask you to simplify A times B, what would you do? A, B. Literally take the time sign out and squash it together. So that rule is never going to change no matter what we see. Okay. So what if I see 2A times B? What am I going to do now? And I'm literally taking the time sign out and I'm squashing them together. Job done. Okay. What do we do when we see 2A times 2B? Okay, so this is where it's slightly different. This is what I don't do. I don't just take the time sign out and squash them together. In fact, even when you look at that as an answer, it kind of doesn't feel right, does it? What we're going to do instead is we're going to do any numerical work that we can see. So I can see there's a 2 times by 2. So I'm going to do 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. And then the numbers I don't know, A and B, just get squashed on. Okay. What am I going to do with this question? 5A times 3A. So I can see the number work. The number work here is 5 times 3. So I'm going to get that done first. I always think numbers first, letters second. And then I've got A times A. Now, if I just do the squashing, it's going to look like this. And you could argue that that isn't incorrect because it's kind of not. We're not showing that time sign anymore. There are 2 A's that are still represented, but we don't write the AA next to each other like that. We can actually go into using our indices, using our powers. So A times A is equal to A squared. Now, if you're struggling with the concept of that, think of A equaling 5. If I had 5 times 5, that's a number multiplied by itself. And I'm perfectly comfortable with representing that as 5 squared. A is just a number I don't know. So A times A is being multiplied by itself. It's A squared. So the correct way to represent 5A times 3A is 15A squared. So we really want to watch out for that. Okay, so whilst we're on the subject of numbers being multiplied by themselves, I'm going to clean this up. Let's get a bigger rubber. What if I gave you H times H times H times H? You might have the temptation to do that. Just get rid of the time sign. but it technically isn't written in that way. If I've got 4 H's all squished up together, that is actually going to be H to the power of 4. Okay, so that's just something to be really mindful of. One of the things that the examiner loves doing is putting a question like that alongside a question like A plus A plus A plus A. Now, these are very different questions. These are multiplications. This means that the numbers are getting big very, very quickly, and therefore that power makes sense for that reason. But these are just being added together. I've got an A, now I've got 2, now I've got 3, now I've got 4. I've got 4 A's. And that's when you put the big number in front of the A's because of the addition rather than the multiplication. So something to be mindful of, because I know what that examiner's like. And they put these two together because if you're not super confident, then you're a little bit like, oh, which way round is it? So think timesing makes numbers really, really big, okay, very, very quickly. So an indice does that. So we're going to put it as a powerful number, okay? All right, last couple of things to look at before we move on is a division. Okay, now this is going to be taking us up slightly to a higher level. I always like, wherever possible, to, if there's a natural flow up a level, we're going to take it. We're not just going to say it's grade 3, so we're not going to see it. We're going to say, actually, this leads into this really nicely. So let's see that. So the division could look a little bit like this. So I've got 6 A's and I'm going to divide by 2 A's. Okay. Going to show this with like a number thing at the moment so that we can make sense of what's happening. If I said to you A was equal to, let's say 3, this would now be 6 times, because it's squashed to the A, 3, equaling 2 times 3. That's going to give me 18 over 6. And how many 6s can I get into 18 is the final thing for me to work out here. And that is 3. Okay. Now, if I go back to this, 6 divided by 2 is 3. What's actually happening is that these A's, so the A's here, which we turned into 3's, they're almost cancelling themselves out. I don't need them to get to that final answer of 3. I used them here to show the answer would become 3, but the reality is I don't even need them to get the answer to be 3. And that's because they do exactly what I've just said. They cancel each other out. So if I've got a single A on the top and a single A on the bottom, they literally cancel out and the A's are no longer there. All right. We are going to see it with a power this time. All right. And this is taking us up to the next level. But I want to be able to include this as we move through the sessions. As we move through, we do recaps all the time. And I quite like to try and bring a little extension in here and there on those recaps so that we're still building we're retaining our knowledge, but we're building on it at the same time. So this is something that we will see as we move forward, and it's not something for you to worry massively about at this stage, okay? We just want to be aware of it. All right, look at this question now. We've got 3A times 6A all over 2A. Okay, now I'm going to just concentrate on my numerator. So I'm going to ignore the fact that there's a divide 2A going on here at all. And I'm going to do my first tidy step. So I can see there's some number work. I've got 3 times 6, which is going to give me 18. And a times a is going to give me a squared. Now, that is all over 2a. Let's look at this in full. We've got 18a. Oops, actually, I'm going to show my times sign. I've got 18 times a all over 2 times a. Now I can cancel an a from the top and an a from the bottom. I can't do anything with this a because I don't have another one down here to match to it. So let's have a look at what this looks like now. This looks like 18. I'm going to squash that a back in over 2. Now I'm going to do the number work I can see. I've got 18 divided by 2. 18 divided by 2 is 9, and my a is still in the answer. Now that is quite a leap. I think it's something we'll be able to handle. Once we've practiced our basics, we'll be looking to stretch ourselves, hopefully. And this is where we're going to go. The grade 4 picks this up even further, and we start looking at the indices and powers in a bit more detail. But this is the introduction. This is the kind of bridge of understanding that takes us from the grade 3 up into that new topic of indices. Okay, so we will see that in another course. But like I say, don't worry about this yet. If it's feeling a little confusing, we will build this into this course as we go, and you'll be absolutely fine. Hopefully you've made notes. Remember, this is something that isn't live, so you are able to rewind, watch things through a second time. If you didn't make a note on that, you were just watching it and taking it all in, then it's a good idea to go back and then make that note. Okay, keep everything really clear so that you can look things up when we're doing those recap sessions. All right, we're going to move on and look at a multiplication that involves brackets. All right. So what I need you to do is remember that a letter is just a number I don't know yet. So x is a number. I just don't know it. X plus 3 is a number. I just don't know it. 2x minus 4. Same thing. And let's show you what we mean by that so it's really clear. If I said to you x is 3, then this x right here is 3. This expression here is going to be 3 for the x plus 3, which is equal to 6. This one here is going to be 2. Remember, there's that invisible times sign. So times 3, take away 4. 2 times 3 is 6. Take away 4 is 2. So each one of these more complicated looking pieces of algebra still technically is just a single number I don't know until someone gives me a little bit more information. If I've been given something like 2x minus 4, and then I'm told that I've got to times it by, let's say, 3, I need to make sure that I multiply all of that. That whole expression has to be multiplied by 5. And the way that I show this in algebra, the way that I communicate this is using brackets. I want all of this to be multiplied by the 3. But remember, we don't show the times sign in algebra. So at the moment, that still isn't quite the way that we would write this question. We would take the 3 and we would squash it up to the bracket. And now I am saying I want 3 lots of everything inside this bracket. I've got 3 times everything. So anything squashed in maths, and here we've got it a squashing, if you like, to a bracket, means multiply. So this is the next thing we're going to check in with and make sure that we're all right and we can do. So this is saying to me 3 lots of 2x minus 4. So let's write this out. I've got 2x minus 4. There's one. I've got another one. And I've got another one. When I write it out like that, I've got 3 lots of those. I can clearly see everything that's going on. And I can see that in my x's column, I've got 2 plus another 2 plus another 2. I've got a total of 6 x's. And here I've got 4, or you could say negative 4, and then I've got to take away another 4, which would be negative 8. But you don't need to bog yourself down with that much thinking necessarily. You could just add up all the 4s. So I've got 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I've got 12, and that would be negative 12, minus 4, then minus 8, then minus 12. And that would be the solution. That would be the equivalent way of writing that expression. Okay, so that's a method that you could use. I'm not going to do it that way simply because we could get a question like 8 times 2x minus 4. Or what if we had a question that was 12 times 2x minus 4? I absolutely don't want to be listing this out 12 times, 8 times. I want a shortcut. I want an easy way to do this. So the easy way to do this is to take the 3 and just look at multiplying it to that first term. So what we're doing here is 3 times 2x. And we have this skill from the previous work that we've done. We know to multiply the numbers together. So that's going to give us 6. And then the x stays with it, 6x. I'm then going to repeat this, take the 3 and multiply it to the number inside the bracket. That is giving me 3 times minus 4. So do your number work, 3 times 4, which is 12. And how many negatives can you see? 1. So there's 1 in the answer. And we learned all about how we did our negatives in grade 2, didn't we? All right, so 6x minus 12, doing it the short way. And that's the way that we're going to continue moving forward. All right, so first question is going to be 3x minus 7. Now, I don't want you to feel rushed, so do hit that pause button and press play when you are ready. You've only seen one example, so your first have a go might go wrong. That is normal. When you are learning, you can expect to make mistakes. So don't worry about anything like that. As soon as you paused, had a go and went wrong, then you just sat here watching me do maths. All right, so have a go and then press play when you're ready. So this one is 3 times x. Now it's up to you if you want to show that by writing 3 times x in a working out spot somewhere, or you can hold that, that piece of maths in your head and say 3 times x is 3x. And then I'm going to do 3 times a negative 7. Again, this is a personal choice that you will make. I'll do it a couple of times to remind you. I'll do it whenever I think something's overly complicated because I want to be able to see it. Otherwise, I do the rest of it in my head. So you need to just, like I say, you kind of take control over what works for you, don't you? So 3 times minus 7, minus 21. Okay, let's do another one. So you've got 3x, and we're going to do 2x minus 8. Now this is much harder. You can see it's different. I want you to hit that pause, give it your absolute best, and press play when you're ready. Okay, now this is where I would do exactly what I just said. I'm writing that first one out. I need to see all of this. So I've got to do 3x times 2x. 3x times 2x. Okay, so the number work is going to give me 6. 3 times 2 is 6. And then the letters are x and x times x. So I've really got to spot that I've got x squared happening there so that I get that power 2 into my answer. I've then got the 3x to multiply to the negative 8. So I've got 3x times minus 8. So again, I'm going to do my number work first. So my numbers are 3 and negative 8. So 3 times 8 is 24. There's 1 negative in the question. So there's 1 in the answer. So I've got minus 24. But I have to remember I've also got an x here, which means that there will be an x in that part of my answer as well. Now, if you got that right, absolutely fantastic. If it went a little bit wrong in places, like I say, you hadn't even been shown it, you gave it a good go, so well done. The most common thing that I see as people get confident with this piece of work is this bit here. In fact, I'm going to highlight it. That bit there is commonly left off. So students remember and see the power 2, and they get this bit right, and then they forget the x that goes on the end. Now, one of the ways to avoid that happening is to do this step. Just writing it out, letting your eyes feed the information through so your brain isn't trying to hold everything. It's not holding the question and processing it. The eyes hold the question and the brain can process. So writing down, I'm a big fan of it. Big fan of it. Okay, let's do another question. I'm doing different ones every time because I want you to see lots of different examples. You will get to practice at the end of the teaching section, all of the stuff that you're seeing now. So we've got 3a, and then I've got b plus 4. Hit pause and press play when you're ready. Okay, so we've got 3a times b. You write it out if you need to. I think this one's a little bit easier because there's just the one number and we know everything's squashing, letters are different. So we're going to end up here with 3ab, just all squashed together. And then we've got 3a times 4. 3 times 4 is 12. So I've got plus 12, and I've got to remember that a goes with it. If you got that right, absolutely well done. All right, let's do something slightly different. Again, we're pushing the boundaries a little bit, okay? We don't want to just be good, and then when one thing changes slightly, it freaks us out and we can't do it anymore. We want to be that confident with what we're doing. So look at this one. I've got minus 4x plus 2. So the only difference there is that negative in front of the number. Try not to let that put you off. Go through that process. The method's not going to change. Hit pause and press play when you're ready. Okay, so we're doing minus 4 times x. Minus 4 times x. I can see it. Obviously, I don't want to show the time sign, do I? But I can see the question now. I know I just squash it all together. So that is going to equal minus 4x. And then I've got minus 4 times a positive 2. I've got 4 times 2 is 8. I've got 1 negative in the question. So I've got 1 negative in the answer. Okay. If you got that right, fabulous. I think the most common error here would be to put a plus just because there's a plus in the bracket. All right. The negative here is having a big impact, isn't it? You can see that there. 1 negative in the question is going to change this here. All right, let's do another one like that because they are a little bit different. So let's have a look at minus 2x minus 3. Hit play when you're ready. Okay, so I've got minus 2 times x. I know that's just going to get squashed up. So minus 2x. I've got minus 2 times minus 3 this time. Minus 2 times minus 3. Well, 2 times 3 is 6. And I have 2 negatives in my question. 2 negatives are going to come together, make a positive. So I've got a positive 6. So if they want to make this trickier, they're going to bring those negatives in, guaranteed. All right. So that is us expanding just a single bracket. And like I say, we're going to have some questions at the end, so you will be able to practice this. We are now going to move on and look at the last piece of learning in this session, which is when we've got 2 brackets. So we're going to look at a question. Let's say we're going to do 3x plus 2 plus 4. Whoops, put my bracket in. X plus 4. There you go. Now, this question is just twice the work, really. It's exactly the same as doing a single bracket. We've just got to do the work all the way along, 2 brackets. And then there's this one extra step at the end. So let's have a little look. We're going to multiply the first bracket. So we've got 3 times x, which is 3x. And then we've got our 3 times 2, which is positive 6. We've then got 4 times x. Oh, didn't change blue. Never mind. We've got 4x. Let me get that blue back. There it is. And then 4 times 4, which is 16. So that's your kind of first step to this slightly higher leveled question. And it's going to get you your marks, okay? We've now got to finish this off by tidying it up. So this is the adding terms together. This is where we're going to be putting them into their groups. So we've got 3x here. As I travel along, I hit some numbers. The numbers aren't joining the x's because they are different, okay? I've got the x gang. We learned this in grade 2. I've got the x gang, and the only thing joining the x gang are x's. So I'm going to be ignoring the number 6 and traveling along until I find myself some more x's, which are here. And you'll notice that I'm including the sign. It's really important. A lot of students will just highlight or circle the 4 and the x. And then they're missing this incredibly important detail because this tells me what I need to do. It directs me either up the number line or down the number line. So I've got 3 x's. I have to add 4 x's. That is going to give me 7 x's. And then I would look at my numbers. And again, I've really got to be considering the signs. These are all positive. So we're in a comfort zone and we don't realize how important it is. So this is saying I'm at 6 on the number line. This is saying add another 16. 16 plus 6 is 22. So I'm now at 22 on the number line. So positive plus 22. Really, really important that we do have a sign between these two. Okay, this is an expression. It's our final answer. It's the neatest way of writing that question. Okay, so that's our first main example. You are now going to have a go at 2 or 3. I'm going to start bringing those negatives in as well. I'm going to do it right away, I think. So we're going to have 5x plus 4 plus 3x minus 2. So use the note from the example, take your time, have a really good crack at it, and then when you're ready, hit play. Right, so we've got 5 times x, which is 5x. 5 times 4, which is positive 20. We've got 3 times x. Now we can see the plus sign here. This is all positive. Again, if you're not sure and you're not seeing it clearly, just write it out to the side. So we've got plus 3x. And here I've got 3 times minus 2. Got 1 negative in that question. So 1 negative. 3 times 2 is 6. Okay. Now I do the collecting. I've got 5 x's. I've been told to add another 3. So I've got 8x. And then I look at my numbers. I've got 20 and I'm at 20 on the number line. It says take away 6. That's going to leave me at 14. 14 is a positive number. So at positive 14. If you got that right, nice one. Really, really good. Well done. Okay, let's do another one. We're going to do 3x minus 2 plus 4x plus 3. Pause and hit play when you're ready. Okay, so 3 times x is 3x. 3 times minus 2 is minus 6. 4 times x is 4x. And our last bit, 4 times 3, both positive, so 12. We've got 3 x's and we need to add 4 more. So we've got 7 x's. Now we've got to look at our numbers. I'm at minus 6 and I've got to add 12. You could do it the other way around and say I'm at 12 and I've got a minus 6. Either way, it's going to get you to the right answer, which is positive 6. If I'm at negative 6 and I go up the number line 12 places, I will be at positive 6. So I'm going to write down plus 6, and that's the answer. Okay, let's do another one. There we go. Hit pause, press play when you're ready. Okay, here we go. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times minus 2 is minus 8. Minus 3 times x is minus 3x. And the last one, minus 3 times 5. 3 times 5 is 15, and I've got 1 negative. So minus 15. So there's lots of negatives coming out here. I'm at 4. I've got 4 x's. It says take 3. So 4 take 3 is 1. I have 1 x left. So lots of people will write 1x. That is fine. You're not going to get penalized for it, but it isn't standard notation. It's not really what we need, what we would do. If I've got 1x is going to look like that. That is 1x. So we don't need the 1. So really try as much as you can to avoid putting that 1 in front. Okay, now looking at the numbers, I'm at minus 8. And then I'm being told to minus another 15. So I'm going further down that number line. I'm being directed down, not up by the takeaway, okay, by the negative. So minus 8, and then another 15 places down is going to take me to minus 23. And moving the right way on the number line, obviously, is critical. And it's something that's really easy to get wrong. So be mindful when you are having to do that take and add. So we've got an x, that's all we've got, and minus 23. Okay, this is going to be our last example. You're going to have a go at, what should we do? Let's do 3x minus 4 minus 7x. Oops, no, get the bracket in. 7x minus 2, let's say. Okay, so that's probably as tricky as they're going to come. Give it a go and hit play when you're ready. So 3 times x is 3, oops, dependent want to work, 3x. Now 3 times minus 4, well 3 4s are 12, and then I've got that minus, just the 1 in that question, so 1 in the answer. Minus 7 times x is going to be minus 7x. Here I need to be really careful. I've got minus 7 times minus 2. All right, minus 7 times minus 2 is going to be positive 14. Okay, I've got 2 negatives making that plus for me. All right, and again, that is, I would say, the most common thing that's missed. Those 2 negatives here making that plus there. All right, I see negatives getting written down all the time. Practice will get us there. All right, so if you're making those mistakes at the moment, I really wouldn't worry about it. You are at that learning stage, aren't you? Okay, so looking at what we've got in this string of terms, I've got 3x, and then it says take away 7 x's. Okay, I'm at 3, and I move down the number line 7 places, I am going to be at negative 4. So my answer is negative 4x. Looking at my numbers, I've got minus 12, and then I've got to add 14. And remember, you can do this either way. You can either say I'm at minus 12, I'm going up the number line 14 places, or you can say I'm at 14, positive 14, and I'm going down because I'm taking away 12 places. And 14 take 12 is 2, positive 2. So the answer would be plus 2 there. If you got it right, fabulous. Absolutely brilliant. Well done. So those are all the examples that we're going to do. What we've now got is a selection of questions based on everything we've seen so far. So let's get that so you can see them all. Is that all of them? There they are. What you're going to do here is you're just going to hit that pause button, have a go at some of this, hit play, do a bit of marking, rewind, do some more questions, and keep repeating that. I wouldn't encourage you to just go through the whole thing without checking in. Check your answers, because if there's a little thing going wrong and you can tell from the answer what you're doing wrong, you're going to correct it as you move yourself forward. All right, so lots of practice there. I'm going to see you in the next session, so best of luck with that. And I will bring the answers up in just a moment.